So, welcome back in, everyone. A little different scenery today behind the wheel of a car. Probably not the wisest decision, but here we are, driving. We just finished up playing a little bit today, and there's something that's been on my mind. Something that just seems a little bit off when it comes to my disc golf game, and that is my upshots. I'm gonna roll a few clips here for you, and I'm gonna walk you through some of these upshots that I filmed, or that I threw earlier, and I just threw a few more at a different course, kind of to show what I'm thinking here and what's been going on. The reality of it is my upshot game has been weak. It was kind of weak last year, and it's starting off this year really weak as well. And I don't know what it is, because that usually isn't a part of my game that worries me. But for whatever reason, I am struggling to get my upshots to go well. I throw decent shots, but then I get in my head, you know. I try a disc and it doesn't work. I try a different disc and I go long. I try a third disc and I'm short. And you'll see in some of these clips what I'm talking about. It was in a video that I filmed where I returned to the course where I won a tournament at, and I was trying to break it, but in the process I threw some horrendous upshots. And so, all that to be said, let's roll the clips. Here you're gonna see a upshot after going out of bounds. So I put my marker down, and I'm not gonna lie, I go to my P3X thinking that it's gonna be the right shot. I line it up. It comes out a little bit flatter, but then doesn't fade, and you'll see by my body language here that it is bad. I ended up almost 100 feet past the basket, unintentionally. I think this played slightly downhill, and this is kind of the problem I've been looking at. And then here's another one. This is a par 3 where I lay up to the corner, and I have to lay up to the basket and try to get the best result. I have that bad upshot, so I go and jump putt here on the first shot, and you'll see that it just gets knocked down by the wind. It is bad choice, bad everything. Came out big Annie, horrible shot. And then if you look at this one, I go back to the same disc, and it just kind of holds over. I think part of that was a wind read and all that, and some frustration just coming out as well. Then we're going to move on to this upshot. This upshot gets me every single time. So I should be about 200 feet from the basket from here, but I don't feel like it ever plays that far. So I go in, I throw. It looks nice. It looks good. And then it ends up about 35 feet along or further. I don't even remember how far it ended up, but it was quite the distance away. Here's hole 17 here, and I throw a decent drive. Of course, I have an upshot to the basket. You can see I'm going back to this zone that I threw on the previous upshot, and I like this side of my hand. The wind was pushing left to right, so this was just a bad wind read. The upshot distance itself, though, came out really well on this one, and so this is a positive outlook, just a poor wind read. Then we have hole 18 here. I don't even know what to say. You'll see here in a second how I go through with my first upshot, and I go zone. I go with my overstable zone, my most stable zone, and I'm like, okay, I got to put a decent move on this. So little run up, little zone toss, and we're 40 feet long. You can see my hand in the background there of like, what is going on? So I go back to my bag. You'll see I get my rangefinder out. And I check the distance. And if I remember correctly, I was like only 150 feet away or something like that, 175. And I'm like, well, no wonder you threw it so far. Something I'm going to try to get better at this year is using my rangefinder to help with distance control. Because I think sometimes I try to judge the distance just to judge. Here's my P3X that comes out early. It's way left. And then I'm going to go back. I think I'm going to grab... I don't remember if I go zone and then Luna, or if I go Luna then zone. But I grabbed 2 discs out of my bag here. I go zone first, or red zone first. Hyzer, let it play the ground. Perfect throw on that one. And then Luna, kind of do the same thing here. Little anhyzer out of the hand. Get a little scoot up. I got a nice little friendly roll there at the end. But that being said, you can see the lack of confidence right now in my upshots. Imagine with me here that we're headed to this orange basket. Right down the way. If you watch those clips, you would see that I left a bunch of shots just either long or short or left or right, and like, well, I have plenty of upshot discs. I sometimes don't pick the right one. So in this case, I'm probably going one of my zones. Now, we're gonna go with my black zone first here. Just give it a good old rip here, like we would. That looks good. Alright, it got a really bad reaction, but it landed in a great spot. Now, let's try the red zone. Also not the greatest reaction, but still not a bad shot. Now, here's where things get interesting. I bag a Captain's Raptor and a P3X. Overstable discs that are used for situations like this. So, let's see if we can down tempo this thing. Now we're gonna have to get on the P3X here. P3X was going 40 long. Anyways, since you've seen that now, one of my goals leading up to my first event this year is to really hone in my upshots. I feel pretty good about like my distance, my line hitting, and all those fun things. I don't feel like those are doing too terribly bad for me to start off the year, and so that may change, and that's always subject to change, but I'm really confident in some of the changes I've made to my bag and some of the updates that I did to it. They've been super helpful, and I mean, on a recent time out, I threw 2 of the newer discs I put in my bag on this wooded par 4 and had 2 of the closest shots I've ever had on that, where I pretty much had a eagle look from one of them. The second one, not so much, but I pretty much had an eagle look from one, and that's never happened. And so I'm excited for the discs that I'm bagging right now. Those have been going super well, and then on top of it, I do feel like my distance is pretty solid going into this year, especially my controlled distance. And so that's why I'm not super worried about those things. But part of not being a massive thrower is I have to throw a lot more upshots. You know, I don't get the luxury of being a 400 plus guy. I'm in that 360, 380. I can probably touch 400 nowadays, but as of right now, I'm not a 400 pluser. And so I throw a lot more upshots, which is fine, and I don't mind. But when they are off, and my scoring suffers. Which you saw in a previous video how badly my scoring suffered with some upshots that I threw, and honestly some forehand upshots that I probably shouldn't have thrown, but they were the right shot. I stunk at them. And so that being said, like, I'm not gonna worry about it. Worry is the wrong word. I'm not gonna stress about it because I would love to get better at them, and I'm hoping to get better at them, and I'm hoping to see some improvement before my first event. And so we're gonna work on it. We're gonna take you along on this journey of what I am currently working on. And so in a future video, you're gonna see some field work of me working on some upshot work and upshot gain. Another thing you're gonna probably see is some putting practice and trying to turn putting practice into pressure putts. It's a lot harder than what it looks, and so we'll see about that. I'm not sold on that completely yet, but all that to be said, I thank you again for tuning in. We appreciate the time you take out of your day to watch our videos. I don't know who us is, but to watch my videos. Us is a strong word, it's just me. To watch my videos. So until next time, don't forget to walk those fairways with intentions.